Asanas, which are generally translated into the word postures, are much more than that. Let me ask you a question. When you hear the word asana, what comes to your mind? Do you think of a yogi maintaining a posture with the closed eyes, or you think of a person on the yoga mat trying to do a complex twist that challenges his or her flexibility? Think again. Did I confuse you? Let me tell you that the true essence of asanas goes far beyond physical postures. Let's travel back to the scriptures where asanas were revealed. And we will be trying to rediscover asanas not as performance but as presence. We've already spoken about Maharishi Patanjali talking about yoga as yogaschitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. What does that mean? That Patanjali Yoga isn't about movement, it's about stilling the mind. And to begin that process, you need to be stable. You need to be not moving too much. You need to be steady. And when that happens, the body won't distract the mind. And that's the time when one will achieve sthira sukham asanam. So asana is that which is steady and comfortable and which is not trying to stress you or strain you anywhere. And after that, what happens? Prayatna shaithilya ananta samapati bhyam. Asana is perfected by relaxing the effort and merging. There should be no conflict. It should be a seat of meditation. And when you are absorbed and you have perfected and you are relaxed, you have achieved your asana. So for Maharishi Patanjali, asana is just about being still, comfortable, and ananta samapati bhyam, which means you're absorbed into the infinite self or your true self. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, when he talks about yoga, he's basically talking about non-performing asanas but on preparing the mind for meditation. And so mind and body are prepared for meditation. How? He says, let the yogi establish a firm seat for himself in a clean, quiet place. He says, Shucho deshe pratishthapaye sthir asanam atmanaha. Then he says, Tatra ekagram manah kritva yat chitta indriya kriyaha. There, controlling the mind and senses, he should practice yoga for self-purification. So here also, he is not talking about any gymnastic display. He's talking about sacred preparation for the inner discipline. Centuries later, the Hatha Pradipika, which is one of the prime texts for Hatha Yoga, offered a more practical approach. But let's understand that here also asanas are given, and there are 15 of them, but they are never about physical prowess. They are about subtle energies and they are about sthira. So, Swami Swatmaramji in Hatha Pradipika talks of 15 classical asanas and mostly are seated, Siddhasana, Padmasana, and we would be talking about them in great detail in the future episodes. But for now, let's just understand that these all, they steady the body, calm the prana and prepare for the higher practices like pranayam and dhyan. Swami Swatmaramji says, Hatasya pratma angad asanam purvuchate kuryad asanam sthiryam arogyam cha anglaghavam. He describes asana as the first limb, whereas Maharishi Patanjali describes asana as the third limb, and Gheranda Samhita, which is also one of the Hatha Yoga Granth, talks of asana as the second limb. So whatever it is, asana anywhere is described as the one which brings stability, good health and lightness of the body. So when I say Kuryad Asanam means by doing asana, what happens? You become sthira, stable, arogyam, you don't have any disease, and angalagavam means lightness of the body happens. So you feel light in your body, you are more stable, and that is what is the main motive of asana. So next time you roll your mat and you sit down to stretch yourself, you have to remember that it's about how deeply you can sit in your body, in your breath, in your being, because asana is not the shape of your body, it's the shape of your consciousness. Even Gheranda Samhita, one of the prime Hatha Yoga scriptures, talks about the same thing. It says, asanen bhaved dridam. You become drid, you become strong, and that is what brings in stability. Here, Maharishi Gheranda even goes on to quoting Lord Shiva by saying that asanani samastani yavanto jeev jantavaha chaturshiti lakshani shiven kathinani cha. As many as there are beings, living beings on this planet Earth, so are the asanas, and this is what Lord Shiva described as 84 lakhs. Then he further says, Tesham madhye mrityu loke dvatrinshat asanam shubham, which means among these 84 lakhs, 32 are considered beneficial for human beings. So his granth or his scriptural text on Hatha Yoga talks about 32 basic asanas which should be performed. Hatha Yoga Pradipika talks about 15, Gheranda Samhita talks about 32, and Shiv Samhita, which is said to have been Lord Shiva himself, Lord Shiva spoke it, is talking about 84 lakhs. But if we go to Shiv Samhita, we'll just see him talking about 4 major ones, and they are also sitting postures. That is why the moment you start dissecting the word asana, it means to sit. So asana basically means to sit. And how to sit? To be drid, to have that stability, to have that lightness, to have that prana shakti flowing through you without any disturbance. Krishna says, Niyatam kuru karmaha tvam karma jayayuho hakarmanaha, which means if you're doing your duty with steadfastness, for action is better than inaction. So do yoga, and you must do asana. But don't do asana to stretch your body or to understand how flexible you are, but try to achieve that flexibility of your mind, and the flexibility of your body would be achieved. When you talk about the problems disturbing people in today's world and time, they are basically because the mind is running too fast. It is the monkey mind disturbing us, making us travel to the past or the future instead of being mindful and staying in the present. So we have to remember that it's not about how far one can stretch. It is about how much you can understand yourself, how much you can be sukhi and sthira, still and comfortable. Let's set today's intention. Today I let me embody stillness, softness and self-awareness in every posture I take on the mat and in life. So follow us for your daily yogic wisdom on the path to International Yoga Day. Thank you very much. See you in the video tomorrow.